Let's see. Jeff said the envelope with the earliest date goes down in the front of each box. Now that they're all sorted, I can do some reading.
You're back.
I finished putting all those envelopes in order.
Excellent. Thank you, Miss Drew. And to show my gratitude, I've got something for you.
It doesn't involve Roman numerals, does it?
No, it's an honorary Junior Park Ranger pin. I keep them on hand so I can give them out to children whom I see demonstrating respect for park rules and regulations. A little bit of positive reinforcement. Unfortunately, I don't get to give them out that often.
Oh, gee, thanks, Ranger Akers. Thanks for all your help.
That's why I'm here.
looks like a tiny hole. It's blocked. It looks like a tiny hole. What's the combination? I bet those were deer mice. Speakeasy. The dogs will lead the way. I wonder what that means.
Nice Junior Park Ranger pen. You must really be on Acres' good side.
Any word from Tucker, what's his name? He hasn't been by to move that tree yet.
I'll give him another call. But like I said, the man marches to the beat of another drummer. A very slow drummer.
These so-called ghost dogs left very real paw prints. I saw some near the cemetery that's by the Malone house. Have you ever been there?
Can't say as I have. Poking around cemeteries ain't exactly a hobby with me.
Does the name Waldo Matthias mean anything to you?
Can't say as it does.
To make a long story short, I need some camouflage gear.
Got some right over here. One size fits all. But I'm running kinda low on bait. So if you go out and get me, say a dozen little critters, I'll give you the camos.
A dozen little critters?
Worms, spiders, beetles, grubs. Anything that wriggles on its belly'll do. Just look under stuff. Rocks, logs, dead leaves. Should be able to find 12 in no time.
Hunting for critters isn't illegal, is it?
Things ain't quite that bad around here. Least not yet. Now, if Jeff Acres' daddy was still around, you might get arrested for cruelty to animals or some such nonsense. Joe Acres used to be the deputy sheriff. Real critter lover, that one was.
Joe Acres is Jeff's father?
That's right.
I found an old newspaper in Sally's house that contained an article on Mickey Malone. It really got my curiosity going. What else can you tell me about him?
Person you should talk to is Jeff Acres. He's got this historical museum thing going out at that ranger station of his.
Do you know anything about the gold that Mickey Malone supposedly buried somewhere on his property?
All I got to say about it is, if there really was a bunch of gold buried somewhere and nobody ever found it, it's for darn sure nobody ever will. Not with them dogs up there.
Guess I'll see you later.
I guess you will.
You're back.
What can you tell me about the gold that Malone supposedly buried on his property?
As far as I know, it doesn't exist. It's just one of those rumors people want to believe, so they do.
Thanks for all your help.
That's why I'm here. You're back.
What do you know about a man named Joe Akers?
Why do you ask?
I recently found out that William Akers had a son.
All right. William Akers was my grandfather.
Why didn't you tell me that before?
It's not exactly something I'm proud of. My father spent his whole life trying to make people forget what my grandfather was, and trying to make sure people who didn't know what he was never found out. I've been doing the same thing.
What did William Akers do after Malone was arrested?
I'm afraid you're going to have to excuse me, Miss Drew. In case you've forgotten, I'm a very busy man.
Hello?
Hey, Sally, it's Nancy.
Nancy, hi, how's it going?
Were you ever told that Mickey Malone supposedly buried a small fortune in gold bullion somewhere on your property and that it has yet to be found?
Is this a joke?
Malone supposedly stole a bunch of gold bars off a train and buried them at Moon Lake. You never heard about that?
No. Could it be true?
Well, if somebody thinks it's true, that may be the reason they're trying to frighten you off your property.
How did you hear about it?
I found the journal of a man named William Akers in a safe in your cellar. He was one of Malone's closest associates. Ever hear of him?
Never.
Are you aware that you're the proud owner of your very own cemetery?
Yes. When the realtor told me there was a cemetery on the property, I went, ugh. But when I saw how far from the house it was and how small it was, I decided I could live with it, as it were.
Do you know if Malone is really buried there?
The realtor said the cemetery was just a sham, that there's nothing under those tombstones but dirt. But he may have just been saying that so I'd buy the place. The only way to know for sure whether or not Malone is there is to start digging, and I'm certainly not going to do that.
Talk to you later.
Bye.
I apologize for my previous behavior. As a park ranger, I strive to keep my personal feelings in check at all times, and that time I failed. It's my duty as a public servant to try to make it up to you. What would you like to know?
Sorry to bother you again, but did those results from the water test come in yet?
There's something here for you from the State Department of Health.
Oh my gosh, not only is the water bad, but it seems like the well may have been contaminated deliberately.
I wouldn't go jumping to conclusions without proof, Ms. Drew. I'm sure there's a far less melodramatic explanation.
Did your grandfather ever find any gold on Malone's property?
If he did, he never spent it. He wasn't poor when he died, but he certainly wasn't rich.
Have you found anything about that photograph I showed you?
Good news! I have information on your mystery woman.
Thank you so much. Is she still alive?
Her name these days is Vivian Whitmore. She lives in Las Vegas, and her number is 555 9137.
Thanks for all your help.
That's why I'm here.
If you're selling something, hang up right now. I got an air horn in my hand that could deafen a dinosaur, and I'm not afraid to use it.
Oh, no, please. I'm not selling anything. Believe me. Is this Vivian Whitmore?
Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. You got exactly 5 seconds to state your business.
My name is Nancy Drew. I'm calling from Moon Lake, Pennsylvania. I just wanted to ask you some questions.
Oh, right. The Moon Lake Park Ranger said you might call. But you have to talk fast. An old friend of mine is flying in today from Florida. And when I say old, I mean old, as in 5 years older than I am. Don't bother trying to do the math, sweet stuff. You'll hurt yourself. So, that ranger fella said you found an old picture of me.
It was of you and Mickey Malone. Do you remember him?
Of course I remember him. I remember everything about that time of my life. It was the roaring 20s, for crying out loud. One of the most exciting decades in American history. Just because I've got a few years on most people doesn't mean my brain's turned to tapioca, sweet stuff.
Did you spend much time at his place on Moon Lake?
Moon Lake. Talk about your fond memories. I had a lot of fun there. Although I wasn't anywhere near as wild as most young people were back then. But I think Mickey kind of respected me for that. I was his gal for 5 years. He always kept birch beer on tap at that speakeasy of his just for me.
Tell me about the speakeasy.
It was in the basement, right there at Moon Lake. Feds never knew about it, but everybody who was anybody on the East Coast back then, actors, musicians, bankers, politicians, they knew. You weren't big time unless you'd made at least one trip to Moon Lake Mickey's.
That's weird. I'm staying in his old house on Moon Lake, and I haven't seen any sign of a speakeasy.
Course you haven't. You're not supposed to. Only Mickey and Willie knew how to get into the speakeasy from the house. The rest of us had to go in and out the regular way, through the cemetery.
Who's Willie?
The guy who ran the speakeasy for Mickey.
Did you say people would normally enter the speakeasy through the cemetery?
There was a lock hidden in one of the tombstones in that little cemetery behind the house. You needed a key to unlock it, and when you did, stairs would appear that led to the speakeasy.
Do you have any idea how to get into Malone's speakeasy from the house?
I sure don't. That saloon was built using 2 main ingredients, concrete and secrecy. Mickey always bragged that nobody could get in unless he wanted them in, and I do believe he was right. But I'll tell you what, if you send me that picture of me and Mickey, I'll send you my key.
How will I know which tombstone to use it in?
As a joke, Mickey had a tombstone made with the name of this federal agent who had it out for him inscribed on it. That's the one the key unlocks.
William Akers, the guy you call Willie. He wrote about looking for the gold that Malone had supposedly buried on his property at Moon Lake. Do you know anything about that?
The hole in the floor gold heist. Well, I'll be darned.
So it's true? He did bury gold on his property?
Truth be told, when Mickey told me he was the one who pulled off that heist and that he'd buried 20 gold bars at Moon Lake, I didn't believe him. I thought he was making it up. See, Mickey and I were on the outs by then. I thought he was just trying to entice me to come back. But if he told Willie the same thing, maybe there's something to the story after all.
Did he ever say anything to you about a map?
Yes. He said he was making a treasure map and that... the dogs. Something about those dogs of his.
The dogs will lead the way?
He was always saying that. In fact, I'm pretty sure he had it engraved on his tombstone. Think, Viv, think! He said he was making a treasure map, and that he was also having paintings done of each dog. He made it sound like one thing had something to do with the other, like he was giving me some big important clue. But I just figured he was playing games, trying to lure me back with mystery and intrigue. I told him to buzz off. Maybe I shouldn't have.
Did he say what he was going to do with the paintings?
He said he was going to hang them in the speakeasy, and I'm sure that's precisely what he did.
Can you remember anything about Malone's dogs that might suggest where he hid the gold?
I stayed away from his dogs. They made me nervous, always jumping around, barking at this or that. The only one I liked was, what was his name? Iggy. I liked Iggy because he was nice and quiet. He just lay on the porch all day and didn't make a peep.
Do you know anything about the safe that's in the cellar of his house at Moon Lake?
You must be talking about the wall safe. That was Willie's. By Willie, I mean William Akers, one of the guys who worked for Mickey.
What can you tell me about William Akers?
He was Mickey's most trusted employee. Mickey treated all his other men like dirt, but not Willie. He honestly liked Willie, respected him, trusted him implicitly.
It's been fun talking to you.
Anytime.
Hello again, Miss Drew. Am I in for another interrogation?
I'd like to mail this photo to the woman in Las Vegas. Can you do that for me?
As always, I'm here to serve, Miss Drew. Just give it to me and I'll take care of it. I'm sure she'll be very pleased to get this back.
Thanks for all your help.
Always a pleasure.
Hey, Nancy, how's the bait finding coming along?
Got him right here.
Well, now, you done all right for a city gal. Here you go. Hope whatever you're hiding from won't catch you. How you holding up?
Guess I'll see you later.
I guess you will.
Nope, no hawks.
How's the bird watching coming along?
Mickey Malone supposedly buried a bunch of stolen gold bars on his property way back in the 20s. Did you know that?
Really? That's interesting. I don't much care, but it's interesting.
So you don't know anything about it?
Nope.
I just can't seem to find a red-tailed hawk. Any suggestions?
Well, there's gotta be lots around here. You haven't been going around wearing sunglasses and earmuffs, have you?
No, Red, I haven't.
Well, according to my bird map, they like to nest in the big tree that's just to the southwest of the Malone house. I suggest you park yourself nearby and wait. Bound to spot one sooner or later.
See you in a while.
Yeah.
Well, I don't see any hawks, but this is probably the tree Red was talking about. At least it was the tree. That sounded like a hawk. There it is. I better get a picture before it takes off. Hey, what is that hawk standing on? Oh, that looks like a speaker. Huh? I better get out of here. My arms and legs are tied. I can't move. At least I can kick. If I could just get that scythe down, I could use the blade to cut the rope around my wrists and free my hands. I can't just let this thing burn up. I've got to put it out.
What in blazes happened? I saw the fire from my platform and came running. You weren't in there playing with matches, were you?
I was looking at birds, and then I noticed something on the house, and the next thing I knew, I was locked in the tool shed and somebody was setting it on fire.
Whoa, you're not making much sense. Probably smoke inhalation or something. Come talk to me after you've cleaned yourself up and gotten some sleep. I need to tell you something.
Somebody tried to kill you?
I didn't say that.
Somebody knocked you out, locked you in a shed, set it on fire, and you think they were, what, just pulling a prank? Wake up and smell the hostile vibes, Nancy.
I guess it's just hard for me to believe that anybody would consider me to be that big a threat.
I should have never let you stay there by yourself.
Sally, I'm fine. I feel bad about your tool shed, though.
Who cares about the shed? It was full of junk anyway. I'm glad to be rid of it.
That's kind of the way Ranger Akers saw it, too. He showed up right after the birdwatcher did and ticketed me for burning refuse in a manner that endangered park property.
That man is insufferable.
Emily was nice, though. She came by right afterwards and wouldn't leave until I drank the tea she made for me.
Look, Nancy, one more time. If you want to leave, just say the word and I'll come get you.
Sally, one more time. I'm fine.
Well, then promise me you'll be careful, okay?
I promise. I'll be in touch.
You better.
Nancy, how's it going?
This caller ID stuff is going to take some getting used to.
I'm here too, Nan. What's going on?
There's a private cemetery in the woods out back. Malone and his dogs are supposedly buried there.
Creepy.
And there were paw prints in the cemetery. Fresh paw prints.
Are you sure you're going to be all right there by yourself? We'd volunteer to drive out there and keep you company, but unfortunately my car's in the shop, and you know what a scaredy cat George is.
That's okay. There's really no room, and believe me, living conditions here are pretty primitive.
Scaredy cat, huh? You're gonna pay for that remark, dear cousin.
Get this. It turns out that Jeff Akers will be one happy park ranger if Sally sells her Moon Lake property back to the bank, and they wind up selling it to the Parks Department.
You think he might be responsible for all this ghost dog stuff?
He has a motive and he has a dog, although it doesn't look at all like the dogs that have been scaring Sally.
But it shows he knows something about dogs. Better pull out your suspect list and pencil him in, Nan. I still say you guys should lighten up on him.
You two would get a kick out of the woman who owns this little store on Moon Lake.
How so?
She's a real country gal. We got this deal worked out where if I need something she carries, she'll let me do little chores to pay for it.
What kind of little chores?
Oh, like collecting bugs and worms so she can sell them to fishermen as bait.
Sounds delightful.
She also makes money selling antiques from the 1920s that she finds in Moon Lake.
Sounds like an enterprising woman.
Ranger Akers thinks she's getting them illegally.
Ah, an enterprising crook.
Dragging the lake to recover objects is against the law. He thinks she does it anyway, and that her favorite spot is in front of Sally's.
You know what that means?
It means Emily Griffin has made my suspect list.
Because if she is breaking the law, she'd want the Malone house to stay empty so she can keep dragging the lake without anybody seeing her.
I think somebody may have deliberately put poison down Sally's well.
Yikes! What makes you think that?
The Department of Health found unusually high levels of arsenic in the water sample I sent them.
Somebody's trying to poison you with arsenic? They said that?
They weren't sure. They were going to run some more tests.
So somebody could be trying to poison you. But you don't know for sure.
Right, and they may not be trying to poison anybody. They may want to contaminate the well just enough to force Sally to either go to the expense of digging a new one or forget the whole thing and leave.
And because arsenic is found naturally in well water anyway, you may never know for sure. Bummer.
I found the coolest old newspaper. It's from 1927, and on the front page is an article about Mickey Malone and a man named William Akers.
Akers? Any relation to Park Ranger Jeff Akers?
When I asked, Jeff Akers said that it was just a huge unfortunate coincidence. According to the paper, William Akers was Mickey Malone's most trusted employee, his #1 go-to guy.
Where'd you find it?
You know how I always seem to wind up in houses with secret passageways?
Sometimes I think they follow you around.
Well, I found these hidden stairs leading from the living room into the cellar.
What's down there?
That's what's weird. The stairs led down into this empty space. There's some kind of safe in the wall and a set of stairs leading to a door that goes outside, but that was it.
Why would Malone bother hiding a staircase if it didn't go somewhere important?
Hey, newsflash. I think I know why somebody wants to scare Sally off her property, and it has nothing to do with birds, parks, or artifacts.
So what does it have to do with?
Gold, as in 600 pounds of gold bullion.
Come on, Nancy, tell us everything. Gold is one of my favorite subjects.
Well, I found William Akers' journal, who, it turns out, was our friendly park ranger's grandfather.
Ooh, that that's interesting.
Not as interesting as 600 pounds of gold. Go on, Nancy.
Have you ever heard of the hole-in-the-floor gold heist?
I've heard of the hole-in-the-wall gang.
Well, according to Akers Journal, in 1931, somebody stole a shipment of gold bars in broad daylight by dropping them through a hole in the floor of a moving train.
Let me guess. The thieves were never caught, and the gold was never found.
You got it. According to Akers, Malone masterminded the whole thing, and he hid the gold right here on his Moon Lake property.
You think it's still there?
It must be. Like you said, Nancy, that would explain why somebody wants Sally, and now you, out of there so bad.
I also found a map with the inscription, "The dogs will lead the way."
You found a treasure map? My gosh, Nancy. Secret passageways, buried treasure? You're like a magnet for that stuff.
The dogs will lead the way to what?
According to the journal, Malone left Akers the map and said it would show him where the gold was, but all it has on it is that inscription and some landmarks.
What kind of landmarks?
The house, the shoreline, some rocks in the lake, the pump, the cemetery, and it's crisscrossed with lines like a grid.
A grid? Sounds like precise locations are involved.
Malone's girlfriend, Vivian, said that Malone hired an artist to do paintings of his dogs right around the time he was bragging about creating a map that would lead to his gold.
Have you seen the paintings?
They're not in the house, so either they're in the speakeasy, which I still haven't gotten into, or they're long gone.
Keep looking for them, Nan. If they were done at the same time as that map, they could contain some kind of clue.
Bye, you guys.
Don't be a stranger.
Take care.
Hello?
Hi, Frank.
Hey, Nancy. Hey, Joe. Pick up the phone. Joe's in the kitchen. Worked up a real appetite watching me vacuum out the car. Hello?
Hi, Joe. It's Nancy. What are you eating?
Sandwich. Either roast beef or really old turkey. Can't tell. Don't care.
So, how's life as a dog catcher?
I managed to get in touch with someone who used to be Malone's girlfriend. She says there's a speakeasy beneath Sally's house.
But you haven't been in it yet?
No, Vivian, that's her name. She's going to send me her key. I'm not even going to tell you what the key unlocks.
So you could literally be sitting on top of a speakeasy? Cool.
How do you think your suspects would feel if that turns out to be the case?
Emily Griffin would no doubt be thrilled at the chance to collect artifacts on dry land for once.
But it would be easier to collect them if no one else knew about the speakeasy. So if she somehow knows about it and figures you and Sally don't...
She'd have a motive for trying to scare us off the property.
In other words, you're right back where you started. Maybe Emily has a motive, maybe she doesn't. Anything else my genius brother and I can help you with, Nancy?
I'm pretty sure I know why somebody wants Sally out of the Malone house.
So come on, spill.
Apparently, Malone stole a small fortune in gold bars off a train and hid them somewhere on his property here. They've never been found.
How do you know?
One of his employees, a guy named William Akers, kept a journal, which I found and of course read.
Of course.
Wait a sec. Did you say William Akers?
Who, as it turns out, was our friendly park ranger's grandfather.
Whoa.
According to his journal, William Akers spent months following each dog around, hoping one of them would lead him to the gold. None ever did.
So they didn't go running off into the woods, never to be seen again after all.
Apparently, they stayed around Malone's house for years. William Akers went to the house every day and fed them until they all finally died.
But according to their tombstones, they all died on the same day.
Those inscriptions were Malone's idea. Akers was just following instructions.
And in all that time, William Akers never found any trace of the gold?
He made one mark on the map I found, a capital I on the porch of the house.
Any idea why?
He discovered that one of Malone's dogs slept on the porch all day, so Akers dug all around underneath it looking for the gold, but never found anything.
Let me guess, he marked the spot with an I because the dog's name was Ike.
Iggy.
Maybe the location of the gold doesn't involve just one dog, but all four in combination somehow.
The whole idea of relating dogs to a map is crazy. They're animals. They move around.
But they're also creatures of habit.
Maybe that's the key. Maybe I just need to know their habits.
Well, that could be a little difficult considering those dogs have been dead for more than half a century.
So if you guys were 600 pounds of gold bullion, where would you be?
Maybe Malone hid it in the speakeasy.
I doubt it. William Akers had 9 years to turn this house and the speakeasy inside out and never found a thing.
Keep the faith, Nancy. If that gold hasn't been found yet, all it means is that nobody as smart as you has looked for it yet.
Later, guys.
Watch out for dogs.
Just watch out, period.
A package just arrived for you from Las Vegas.
Great. Vivian sent me the key.
I'll dispose of the package. Wouldn't want to break any littering laws, would we?
Thanks for all your help.
Not a problem.
Hello?
Is this Vivian?
No, this is your station drop-off. Vivian's fixing snacks in the kitchen.
Oh my gosh, Eustacia Andropov? Harry Houdini's cousin?
Use the air horn like I showed you.
No, Eustacia, wait. It's Nancy Drew. I talked to you on the phone a couple of months ago, just after a friend of mine was kidnapped in St. Louis. I asked you questions about the theater where the kidnapping took place, the Royal Palladium, remember?
Nancy Drew, the Snoopy one. You're not dead yet?
No.
Most people, I talk to them one day, next day they're dead. It is an old age thing. Oh, stop being so morbid here. Have some clam dip. Hello? Nancy? So you know Eustacia, huh? Small world. Well, what's up?
I got the key you sent me. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. There's just one thing. It doesn't seem to work.
Oh, where is my brain? The key unlocks the letters of the inscription. Just dial in the password and you'll be set.
There's just one more thing.
You don't know the password. I'm sorry. Eustacia and I've been playing canasta all day, and I guess beating her all those times took more out of my brain than I thought. Next game, I win. Next game, loser pays for pizza. Well, get out your wallet, sister, because you're going down. So, where were we? Oh, yeah, the password. Let's see. It was the name of that federal agent, his first name.
Waldo?
No. No, not his real first name. What Mickey was always calling him. Baldo. That was it, Baldo. I always thought it was mean to call him that, especially since Mickey was starting to get a little sparse on top himself.
So I just turn the letters until they spell Baldo?
Yes, dear, but like almost everything else in life, it's trickier than it sounds.
Are there any other tricks to getting into the speakeasy that I should know about?
I suppose it's only fair to warn you about the tunnels, and the doors, and the dead ends.
Tunnels? You mean there's more than one way to get to the speakeasy from the cemetery?
Mickey had his men dig a bunch of tunnels between the speakeasy and the cemetery with hidden doors that opened when other doors closed, and lots of dead ends, so that if the speakeasy was ever raided, his guests could hide from the police. I was always terrified of getting lost, but you're a plucky girl. I'm sure you'll be fine.
It's been fun talking to you.
I know.
Hello there. I owe you an apology. After you came up here looking for those red tails, I gave my map a closer look and realized it was more than 50 years old. Reason you can't find them is probably because their favorite nesting tree is gone. Finding that hawk's gonna be harder than I thought, so why don't you just give me back my camera and I'll take it from here? It didn't get burned up in that fire or anything, did it?
Somebody clobbers me over the head and then tries to barbecue me, and all you're worried about is your camera?
It's a very expensive camera.
Where did those gas cans come from?
I ran out of gas. So much for being prepared, huh? Well, that's all I wanted to tell you. I'm sure you've got places to go, things to see, people to pester.
You'll be happy to know that I did get a picture of a red-tailed hawk. So here's your camera back. I got all the birds.
Thank you, Nancy. Nice work. You're a credit to your generation.
See you in a while.
Just remember, eyes open, mouth shut.